Northern Light Webcasting Network is on the air. Today we proudly present a Barrels and Poles equestrian event recorded live from the Larson Ranch in Mondovi, Wisconsin. And now, out to Larson Ranch for today's Barrels and Poles.
Hello and welcome to Larson Ranch. We're just outside of Mondovi, Wisconsin. Rick Olson here along with Dan Petchow and Monroe on the camera tonight, and we're bringing Barrels and Poles from Larson Ranch today. And we're going to be back here again next week to do even more of the same thing. And we're going to have barrels first, and then we're going to have poles at the end, and we're going to have all of that coming up right after this brief timeout. You're watching Barrels and Poles from Larson Ranch in Mondovi, Wisconsin on NLWN-TV.
If you need to do something to feel okay to drive, you're not okay to drive. Don't drive buzzed.
And welcome back to Larson Ranch, just outside of Mondovi. We're getting ready for the Pee Wee Barrels, and they'll be coming up in just a moment. And they're just about set ready to go. And I think we're going to be able to keep Dan working with us here.
Oh, yeah.
And Dan's with us. Yeah. And these age groups, Dan, are just a little bit different than some of the open equestrian for the SCA groups. Do you know the differences?
So this will be 6 and under, I do believe.
For the Pee Wees?
For the Pee Wees.
Okay, and we have 6 Pee Wee riders. As I mentioned, Jasper Schmidtnecht is our first rider, and Jasper should be coming up fairly shortly. And we don't see Jasper, but they haven't called for Jasper just yet either, and they're still getting some things into the entered into the computer. And
last minute things here.
There's a little information here about the, and all the fans are eagerly anticipating the action here. And as this young lady is waiting to see the horses come riding into the arena, and we're kind of excited to see how this works out. But Jasper is coming in to the entrance area here in just a moment, and Jasper is a little one. I can see Jasper over there, and you can see Jasper coming into the entrance area. I was talking with Jasper a little while ago as he was looking for apples off the apple tree that's right near us. He's got a big football on his jersey. And so here's Jasper on he's being led through this walk and run. And he's slowly working his way back around. As this is a good chance, Dan, to explain the pattern on barrels. Why don't you go ahead and do that while we're watching Jasper slowly illustrate it for us?
Yeah, barrels is 3 barrels. You can go to the left or right start, and you do it in a cloverleaf pattern. The fastest time wins.
So you can go either way, but it's got to be kind of inside out on that first barrel. And so if you make, like Jasper did, a right-hand turn around that right-hand barrel first, Then you go over to the left side, you have to make a left-hand turn around that barrel, and then a left-hand turn around the top barrel, and then he's going to come on down. And somehow the clock stopped on Jasper. And while they get the clock stuff fixed,
Jasper with a 94.4.
okay, it was a 94.48. For some reason, our clock stopped. So while we get that taken care of, we're going to take a quick time out here on NLWN-TV.
When we adopt a shelter pet, we discover they're a unique mix of all kinds of things.
Come on, Jules, spot on this last one. There it is.
Keep going with it. Leo! They're a little bit of a lot of things, but they're all pure love.
And we're back here at Larson's Ranch, and we seem to have our problems straightened out, our clock situation straightened out. And we have Eleanor Lazowski riding right now. And while we were away, Cannon Crable ran a 50.045. And here goes Eleanor finishing up strong with a 49.661. And that's going to put Eleanor into first place in the Pee-wees right now. And that's going to bring up Avery Martin. So Avery is our next rider. And I'm looking to see if I see Avery coming in. Here comes Avery. And Avery makes that right hand or left hand turn, now going up to the top barrel.
Avery Martin with a 23.865.
23.865 for Avery Martin. And here comes Avery Schmitnick, Briar Schmitnick. And so Avery Martin took over first place with that ride. And Briar Schmitnick is getting led. And Briar is being followed by Jasper, who just rode just a moment ago.
Got the whole family out there today.
And they're still going. And Briar making that second turn.
Get the young ones started right.
Yep, that's exactly what they're doing here, getting those young'uns on the horse to get the idea of what it is to go around the barrels. And And of course, they've got a lot of good music going on here at Larson Ranch. 97.437.
Our last
And we keep having to adjust our clock as a lot of traffic by the timer clock today. And it continually gets bumped into, and
A few things to work on when you start your first arena. Here.
yes, yeah. So we have Mabry Gavin,
Up after maybe we'll have the drag.
and they are going to drag after Mabry's done. Not that there's a lot of divots and so on at this point, but they will, when we get to the open riders and the youth riders, they'll dig it up a little bit more, and we don't want horses falling and riders falling off of horses, and we sure don't want that to happen.
You're supposed to write this on the bottom. I think I need to do that.
And we are moving along with Mabry. There's a reason they call them the Pee-wees. These are little guys on big horses. It's all Mabry can do to hang on to the saddle horn there. And Mabry gets a time of 88.384.
384.
So that means in the Pee-wees, third place went to Cannon Crable, second place to Eleanor Lisowski, and first place with a time of 23.865 to Avery Martin. And we're going to be back with the youth barrels right after this time out. You're watching Barrels and Poles from Larson Ranch just outside of Mondovi on NLWN-TV.
Hi, this is Ashley Larson, and I'm here if you or your horse are looking for any training in barrel racing and pole bending. We here at Larson Ranch are here to help. I bring my experience as a national contender in collegiate and high school rodeo events to Larson Ranch just south of Mondovi. I specialize in training for barrel racing, pole bending, as well as other rodeo events like goat tying and breakaway roping. Our training has helped our students place in the top 4 in the state as well as top finishes in the nation. Check out Larson Ranch on our Facebook page for more contact information. We're excited to see you at Larson Ranch.
And welcome back to Larson Ranch. Rick Olson here along with Dan Petchow, and we've got the youth barrels getting ready to start. Dan, who do we have coming up in the youth barrels?
Yeah, here's the top 5. Carly Guckenberger will be first, Mackenzie Wallstrom second, Addison Olson third, Kaylee Check fourth, Sierra Steele fifth, followed by Evelyn Dazowski and Grace Garvin.
Okay, and Carly Guckenberger is going to be riding Cooper. Or is that Copper?
Copper.
Copper.
On her horse Copper.
Looking out of the corner of my eye to see the sheet over there. And that's a quarter horse? Is that what you said?
I don't know. Let's see where Carly is. I don't see Carly right now. So,
Well, we're relying on you. You have to give us that kind of information. So
I would do believe it.
it's a chilly evening here at Larson Ranch. Little taste of fall for this early in September. As you were saying, it's getting us ready for football, and we have some of that coming up.
Yeah.
On the 25th, we have Colfax High School football coming up on NLWN-TV.
Fall sports are starting. You can even see in the background the leaves are starting to change just a turn.
We have the Boyceville Bulldogs coming in to take on the Vikings on the 25th, and we'll have that live for you here on NLWN-TV. We also have some other things coming up. We'll go through those, but we've got Carly Guckenberger. Now that the arena is clear, it's been dragged, and the barrels are set, and here comes Carly. And she makes that left-hand turn, or check that right-hand turn around the right-hand barrel. Now the left-hand turn. And up around that top barrel, heading for home. And a 20.571. That's a pretty good time to get things started with. 20.571 for Carly. Mackenzie Wallstrom on board Phoebe. And here comes Mackenzie. A lot of riders like to go to that right-hand barrel first. And she makes the left barrel out of the top barrel. Heading for home. And she has a 21.404. That puts her currently in second place. Here comes Addison Olsen on a Dira. And here comes Addison. And she makes the right barrel. Heading hard for that left barrel. And knocks over the left barrel. She's going to get a no time on that. And she pulls up a little bit with what would have been a 22.261, but it's a no time. So Kaylee Check is our next rider. Kaylee Check. And Kaylee is on board Frankie. And here she goes.
She's going left barrel.
A sidewinder.
Sidewinder.
And she comes around the right barrel. Straightens it out for that top barrel. And heads back towards home. With a 21.446. That puts her into third place so far. Still looking to beat that 20.571 is our current first place time. Sierra Steele riding Rocky is our next rider. Waiting for Sierra to come into the gate area. Here she comes. And she makes that right-hand barrel over to the left barrel now. Heading up to that top barrel. Horse slides around the barrel nicely and heading towards home. Looking to beat that time, and we have a new leader, 18.798. So we now have a new leader. That's Sierra Steele on board Rocky.
Up now is Evelyn Lazowski.
Evelyn Lazowski on Annie is our next rider. Evelyn Lazowski on Annie. We're waiting for her to show up. And here comes Evelyn.
Come on, Evelyn.
And Evelyn's probably just a little bit too old to ride the Pee-wees.
Go ahead, Evelyn. Atta girl. Hustle. Kick. Kick, Evelyn.
And she's working her way over toward that second barrel. Now going up to the top barrel. For someone as small as Evelyn, Dan, this is almost like a cross-country ride.
Yeah, that's kind of a bigger pattern here today, so this kid's going to have to work a little harder.
And as she comes down and gets a time, a clean time, 52.588. That brings up Grace Gartman on Nifty.
Up next is Gracie Gartman.
And here goes Grace. Heads over to that left barrel first. Horse seems to want to go one way and Grace wants to go another way. Now she's coming back towards home. And she has a 26.581. And that's going to wrap up the youth barrels.
Our last youth will be Peyton Gilbertson.
Oh, we have another one, Peyton Gilbertson. Here comes Peyton. Peyton takes that second barrel. We don't have the horse's name here for Peyton, but knocked over the top barrel, so Peyton gets a no time. So for the youth riders, third place goes to Mackenzie Wallstrom on Phoebe. Second place to Carly Guckenberger on board Cooper. And first place with a time of 18.798 is Sierra Steele on Rocky. And they're going to drag the arena again, so we'll take a timeout. You're watching Barrels and Poles from Larson Ranch in Mondovi, Wisconsin on NLWN-TV.
Hey world, I have a quick message. It's about safe driving. Alright, let's go. Anytime you're driving, have the seatbelt buckled tight. Both hands on the wheel and your phone out of sight. When not in your hand trying to text somebody back. Because if you do, your car might get smacked. The moral of the story, just put your phone down. The people on the road will stay safe and sound. Put your phone down, put your phone down. People on the road will stay safe and sound. Yeah.
And welcome back to Larson Ranch here just outside of Mondovi. Rick Olson along with Dan Petchow, and we're getting ready to start the open barrels. And Dan, if I understand correctly, open barrels is basically anybody, right?
Yeah, all ages. Yep.
Okay. And so, and they are going to be dragging every 5 riders. That's what they're telling us anyway. So this first group is going to consist of Colin Gartner, Kaylee Check, Patty Hovland, Chrissy Loomis, and Michaela Zimbauer. And our first rider is Colin Gartner on Magic. Lost his hat part way out. Is that a time off in this or not?
No, it is not a time.
I know in some of the
WSC would be a second. Yep.
Yeah. And so now Colin gets a 20.918. Or check that, 20.916, and that's the time to beat so far. Next up is Kaylee Check on board Harper. So waiting for Kaylee to come in. Kaylee getting things turned around. And still waiting for Kaylee, still trying to get the horse figured out. Here she goes. Kaylee Check on board Harper. Around that right barrel, heading over to the left side. Good clean turns around those first 2 barrels. Nice and tight to the barrel. Clean run for Kaylee. 20.739, and that puts her currently into first place. Colin Harper drops to second, and that's going to bring up Patty Hovland on first. Has a Nick Barr Legend. We saw that one last week. And let's see. Yeah, Heza Nick Barr Legend is the horse. Patty Hovland is the rider. We saw this horse last week over at Loomis's. And here comes Patty. Around that first barrel. And the second barrel. And the horse is getting cheered on by some of the other horses. And here comes Patty looking for a really good time, looking to take the lead, and Patty does, 19.265.
And that's Patty with the 19.
And that's our new leader, Patty Hovland on Heza Nick Barr Legend. That's going to bring up Chrissy Loomis.
On deck is Michaela's
And Chrissy's riding Melvin. Still waiting for Chrissy Loomis on board Melvin. Here she goes.
No, don't look at those numbers.
Real wide turn. Melvin wasn't real sure he knew what he wanted to do there. Now Chrissy heads over to the second barrel. Better looking turn that time. And around that top barrel. Heading for home. And gets a time. Chrissy gets a time of 31.723. 31.723 for Chrissy Loomis. And Michaela Zimbauer on Bootleggers and Bandits. Or Bootleggers Bandit. Michaela Zimbauer. Waiting for Michaela to come in. Here comes Michaela. And around that first barrel. And around the second barrel. Takes that top barrel and heading for home. Looking to beat that time of 19.265. And she gets a 19.764. That's going to put her into second place. And we have, it's time to drag the arena. So currently, while they drag, third place is Kaylee Check. Second place is Michaela Zimbauer. And first place is Patty Hovland on Heza Nick Bar Legend. And they've got a time of 19.265. And while they drag the arena, we'll take this brief time out. You're watching Poles and Barrels at Larson Ranch on NLWN-TV.
Hey, Kevin, you thinking about retirement?
I'd love to, but I'm pretty busy with all this.
Yeah. Hey, let's meet our retirement coach, Avo. A is for taking action.
Not anxiety?
No, Kevin, you're gonna be fine.
You sing?
Barely. V is for variety.
And you dance?
Sort of. Come on. O is for optimize your savings.
Let Avo lead the way.
Visit aceyourretirement.org today.
Nice.
Thanks.
And we're back at Larson Ranch, and we're doing barrels and poles. We're still in the open barrels, and we've got Lindsay Lean coming up. And we don't have a horse name for Lindsay, but we do have Lindsay Lean coming up to ride this one. Lindsay getting things turned around and heading out on the course, looking to beat that time of 19.265. She heads over to the left-hand barrel, now coming back over to the right side. She gets turned around the right one. Top barrel, nice and clean, getting a clean time. And she gets a 22.729. 22.729. That's going to bring up for us Ashley Larson on Leo Slide Jet. We'll see what kind of a jet engine Leo Slide Jet has on board. And here goes Ashley. Now Ashley is the owner of this ranch. And does a nice turn around that second barrel. Here she goes up around that top barrel. Nice tight turn. Heading for home, looking to beat that 19.26. And she did knock over the top barrel, so it's a no time for Ashley Larson. It would have been a 19.937. It would have put her in second place. McKenna Zimbauer on Flair is up. McKenna's out on the run now. They were quick at getting the barrel set. He gets turned around the second barrel. Around the top and now heading for home. 21.374 for McKenna. That 19.265 is looking better and better as we go. That brings up Carly Buckholz on board Sky. Carly Buckholz on board Sky.
Their friendly, experienced sales reps will help you from start to finish. Call 800-736-4510 or go to northlandbuildings.com. Northland is
And here comes Carly.
since 1994. Get a quality building at a fair price. Built tough for the long
Carly.
She makes that first turn. Now heading for the second one. And gets around that second turn. Up around the top barrel. Heading for home. And she gets a 21.915.
Up next is a Carly Guckenberg.
And another Carly now. Carly Guckenberg on copper. Carly ran in the youth. Carly Guckenberg. Here she comes. And Copper makes a good turn around the right-hand barrel. Now over to the left side. 2 left-hand turns. There's one of them, and now one more left-hand turn to make. And that barrel just literally got run over by Copper, so it's a no time.
Sorry, Carly, that would have been a 20.
It would have been a 20.757, and it's time for them to drag the arena, so the standings haven't changed. Third place is still Kaylee Check on Harper. Second place on Michaela Zimbauer on Bootleggers Bandit. And first place with that leading time of 19.265, Patty Hovland on First has a Nick Bar Legend. So they are getting ready to, as they are dragging the arena, we'll take this brief timeout. You're watching Poles and Barrels from Larson Ranch, just outside of Mondovi, Wisconsin on NLWN-TV.
You told me not to talk to strangers. You told me not to cross the street without looking both ways.
You told me not to touch the stove.
You told me not to do drugs.
You told me not to drink and drive.
You gave me so many messages about how to stay safe. Why didn't you keep me safe by properly storing your gun?
And welcome back to Larson Ranch, just outside of Mondovi, where we have Poles and Barrels going on. We have the open class, and we have Sierra Steele coming up on Lefty. And actually, Dan, you were telling me that has a Nick Bar Legend horse being ridden by Patty Hovland. That could very easily be the one to beat.
Yeah, that's definitely going to be one of the horses to beat today. The Nick Bar horses have been a good horse here in the area for quite a while. Back to the old man, Bob Manor. So.
And here we go with Sierra Steele on Lefty. And Lefty went to that right-hand barrel first. Now living up to its name with 2 left-hand turns. And the top barrel heading for home, looking to beat that time of 19.2. And she gets a 19.623. Or 621, check that. And that's going to put her into second place. So now we have, and this is Addison on Adira. And she knocked over a different barrel this time. This time it was the first barrel. Last time she was on Adira, she knocked over the second barrel. So another no time for Addison. And she would have had a 22.160.
22.160 with a no time for the down barrel.
So Addison gets a no time. Elena Butler is up. Elena Butler on CNC Frenchie's Rebel. And we're waiting for Elena Butler, and here she goes. And it gets around the second barrel and heading for the third. Round that top barrel heading for home. And she gets a time of 19.390. Not quite enough to put her into first place, but it will move her into second. And that brings up Lisa Becker. And she's out and running. Dan, did we miss a horse in there somewhere?
Well, there was a Whaler on our street, number 12, but they do not have her on the record. So.
Okay. Well, and Lisa gets around the top barrel and coming towards home. That's a time of 21.765.
21.765. Now drag.
And now it's time to drag. So somewhere along the line, somebody didn't ride that we thought was going to ride. And,
Kendra Manuel.
Yep.
But,
one less on the drag.
Waters and Allie Butler.
So we do have some standing changes, though. Third place is now Sierra Steele on Lefty. Second place is Elena Butler on CNC Frenchie's Rebel. And still sitting in first place, Patty Hovland on First Heza Nick Bar Legend with that time of 19.625. And we'll be back with more of the open barrels right after this timeout on NLWN-TV.
It all can get so out of control. Sometimes you can lose your faith, you can lose your mind, lose your grip, get stripped of your pride till you don't know how you're gonna stay alive. Hey, hey, I got you. I will give you what you need, and I'll be right there. I got you back. I got you.
And we're back here at Larson Ranch, getting ready for some more open barrels. And our first rider will be Cheyenne Check on Keeper. And Dan, you were saying we have some collegiate high school rodeo riders here tonight.
Yeah, we got a little bit of everything. We got some collegiate, we got some high school, quite a few high school kids. So it's a good up-and-coming group.
And some serious talent in this group.
Yep.
And evidently the Barrels and Poles is a place to be tonight. Our fellow worker here with NLWN-TV, John, does a lot of our dirt track racing announcing, and he was going over to a speedway in the area to watch some races, and they only have 20 cars there. We have more horses than cars here.
Back to the old-fashioned way.
Yeah, I guess this is the
horsepower. 1 horsepower.
And here we go with Cheyenne Check on board Keeper. Cheyenne gets around that first barrel, heading for the second one. And she got the right hand and making the right hand turn at the top, heading for home. Looking to beat that 19.2, but does not. 21.632. That brings up Sarah Lisowski. I think I was missing an S in there or something. Or it's in the wrong place in Batman's High Tack. Sarah Lisowski and Batman's High Tack is our next rider. And here comes Sarah. Around that first barrel. On the right-hand side. Now 2 left turns. And there we go around that top barrel, heading towards home. Sarah Lisowski with a 23.263. That will bring Kendra Manuel on board Nix. Kendra Manuel on board Nix. And we're waiting for Kendra. The horse gets led into the starting area. And here she goes. Once the horse got in, the horse was ready and willing to run. Oh, knocked over that first barrel. Darn it, because Kendra's doing a nice job on this run. A lot of horse there for that little girl. Gets around the top barrel, heads for home. Unfortunately, she's going to have a no time, but she would have had a pretty good time of 21.569. And so that Kayla Waters on Bodie Checks. Kayla Waters on Bodie Checks is our next rider. Waiting for Kayla to come in. And here she comes. Kayla makes that right-hand turn. Little slippage by Bodie Checks. And around that second barrel. And now a left-hand turn around the top barrel. Little hesitation there, but here she comes. Riding hard, trying to get a good time. 20.546 is her time. And that brings up Allie Butler on Dandy Little Zach. Allie Butler coming up. Here she comes. On Dandy Little Zach. Heading for the second barrel. And then up around the top barrel. Makes that corner. Heading for home. Looking to beat that time of 19.2, and it's a 20.595. And that means that as we get ready to drag the arena, no change in the standings from last time. Third place is still Sierra Steele on Lefty. Second place is Elena Butler on CNC French's Rebel. And in first place with that time of 19.265, like Dan said, that could be the horse to beat. First has a Nick Bar legend. There's a lot of words to spit out with that. First has a Nick Bar legend with Patty Hovland on board. And we're going to take a quick time out while I loosen up my tongue with a little more coffee. And you're watching Poles and Barrels, or Barrels and Poles from Larson Ranch in Mondovi on NLWN-TV.
Being prepared is a part of who you are, but it's especially important in the case of a disaster. Be informed about possible emergencies in your area. Make a plan that covers where you'll go in an emergency. Build a kit with the things you need to survive. There's no one more capable of planning for your situation than you. Start your plan today. Go to ready.gov/myplan.
All right, we are back at Larson Ranch and continuing the open barrels. Megan Matosh. Dan was helping me pronounce that during that last time out. And Megan's riding blue. And here comes Megan. And she comes around that right-hand barrel. And taking her time getting over to the left barrel. Around the top barrel, now heading for home. Megan just trying to get a clean time, and she's going to do that right here. And it looks like a 37.102. That brings up Dakota Gartman on Sketch. So we're waiting on Dakota. Here he comes. And here goes Dakota riding on Sketch. Takes that right barrel. Now over to the left barrel, left-hand turn here. Up to the top barrel. Left turn there. Heading for home. And Dakota pulls up a 22.732. Ricky Conzi on Snap. Ricky Cones Dan corrects me on that. Thank you, Dan. Dan's much more familiar with these riders than I am.
Yeah, I said I'm starting to feel old because I've seen these kids since they're elementary school. Now they're college and high school.
So here comes Ricky. And off she goes. And another one that goes to that left-hand barrel first. So she's going to finish with a couple of right-hand turns. And another right-hand turn heading for home. Looking to beat 19.2. 20.178. And so that brings Chrissy Loomis on board. Brandy is our next rider. I have a Brandy at home, but that Brandy I have at home would have a real hard time holding Chrissy Loomis because my Brandy's maybe a foot long and about 8 inches tall. So here's Chrissy. She's a little Pomeranian Chihuahua mix. And here's Chrissy on board her Brandy. Nice clean ride heading for home, trying to get a good time. And she does get a good time, 19.453. 19.453 will put her into third place. So Chrissy Loomis moves into third place. That brings up Tyler Coates on board Tucker. And here comes Tyler. And here he goes. He made that right-hand turn first, now 2 left-hand turns. And Tucker's going to bring him home. And Tyler gets a time of 23.361. And it's time to drag the arena one more time. So we do have a little bit of a change in the standings. Now third place is Chrissy Loomis on board Brandy. Second place still Elena Butler on CNC Frenchie's Rebel. And still hanging on to first place with a time of 19.265. Patty Hovland on first has a Nick Barr Legend. And we are going to take a quick time out here while they drag the arena. You're watching Barrels and Poles on NLWN-TV.
It's a short ride from your neighborhood to your naturehood. To find a neighborhood park or green space near you, visit discovertheforest.org.
And we're back here at Larson Ranch, continuing the open barrels. We have Stacy Crable on Smarty is our next rider. Stacy Crable. And Dan, they were telling me they have a rescue race coming up at the end of all of this tonight.
Yeah, that's always a fun event. Yeah, that's a fun event. You got to run down, grab your partner, swing them up, and get back. Fastest time wins. Yeah, it's pretty fun. I've done it a few times.
And here comes Stacy Crable. This is on Smarty. Stacy makes that right-hand barrel, heading over to the left side. Heading up to the top barrel. Trying to beat 19.2. 20.592. Next up is Peyton Gilbertson on Icebox Frost. That's kind of what we've had around here the last couple mornings, a little frost on the pumpkin. So here comes Peyton on Icebox Frost. Peyton Gilbertson doing that left barrel first. Little trouble getting around that left barrel, but coming over to the right side now. It's going to take really clean, fast runs to knock off Patty Hovland, that 19.2. Gets around the top barrel, now heading for home. And we have a 23.233. Patty Hovland on second, Manners Lady Jet. So this is Patty's other horse. Patty currently is in first place right now. On first has a Nick Bar Legend. So she's trying to beat herself. On second, Manners Lady Jet. Here she comes. Goes to that left barrel first. Nudges the barrel, but it stays upright, so everything's good. Coming around the right barrel, nudges the barrel, but everything's still good. Going around that top barrel. Now she's heading for home. Looking to beat her own time of 19.2. And she does. She has a 19.193, and that puts Patty into first place ahead of Patty, who will now be in second place. And Elena Butler is now in third. And that brings up Addison Olson on board Rose this time, not Adira. She's riding Rose. And here she goes. Rose takes that right-hand barrel. Addison has a little trouble with Rose. Now gets it around that second barrel. Now up to the top barrel. Addison's going to get a time this time. And heading for home, a 26.485. A little bit of trouble from Rose around that first barrel. Otherwise, that would have been a much better time. And we have somebody different than what it said on our sheet. They said Kenzie Wallstrom is coming up. And because ours says Elena Butler, but Elena already ran on this horse, so this is Kenzie. Kenzie Wallstrom around the second barrel, and around that top barrel, and heading for home. And we're looking at a 21.452. Now we have a drag of the arena. And we have about 10 more riders to go in the open. So now in first place, we still have, well, let's do it the way we normally do it. Third place is Elena Butler on CNC Frenchie's Rebel. Second place is Patty Hovland on Heza First Nick Bar Legend. And now in first place, Patty Hovland on board second, Manners Lady Jet. And so we're going to take a quick time out. You're watching Barrels and Poles on NLWN-TV. And we're back at Larson Ranch, and we're being invaded by a cat. And this cannot be good luck because it's a black cat just ran across in front of us. Wanting to go check out what's going on here as we're getting ready to... This cat's saying, why can't I do this? But we have Carly Buchholz on Ida. And the cat has made its way through. And they're cleaning up an area around where one of the barrels goes.
They're trying to find the stake over there where the barrel is supposed to be. So.
Oh, they probably dragged the stake right out of the ground, and they found a stake. There we go, over there on the far side. Now they have the barrel set, so we're getting ready for Carly Buchholz on Ida. And you can tell evening is setting upon us. It's getting a little dark over there in the starting area.
Yeah, dark and clouds are moving in.
As long as we get done before the rain comes.
It would also be kind of nice if we got packed up
Before the rain came, too.
Yeah. Well, we've packed up in many different types of weather.
We have. And here goes Carly. And she gets a little wide going around that first barrel, and then the horse decides, hey, I don't want to go all the way around that barrel. We're going to get a broken pattern out of this, I believe. So this will be a no time for Carly, I do believe. Which is too bad. She would have had a 27.603.
Sorry, Carly, that'll be a no time. 27.603.
So we have Ashley Larson. And again, Ashley Larson is the owner of the arena. And we're waiting for Ashley. Here she comes. Ashley with some collegiate rodeo experience. And she knocked over the first barrel. She knocked over a barrel in her first run as well. Now heading up towards the top barrel. That's the one she knocked over the first time around. And heading for home. And it's too bad. It would have been a nice run. 19.753. That's going to bring up Abigail Hill. And we don't have the horse's name. So she's riding a horse with no name.
I think there's a song about that.
Something like that. And but you have to go to the desert.
That's right.
Yeah, in the desert they remember your name. Because there ain't nobody to give you no pain. I'm kind of glad our camera person is outside of arm shot because she could jab me. She's laughing at me up there.
Here goes Ashley. Or Abigail, I'm sorry. This is Abigail. Or Abby. Heading around that second barrel. Looking to beat that time of 19.193. And she gets a 20.377.
That was a 20.377. Up next is Kayla Waters.
And so Kayla Waters, there went my money. Isn't that the truth for horses, Dan?
Yeah,
there
right.
went my money. Kayla Waters is our next rider. Still waiting for Kayla to come into the starting area. Here she comes. She takes off to that left barrel first. Now coming over to the right barrel. She makes that turn, heading up to the top barrel. She's got a clean run. And she's got a time of 23.694.
23.694.
Grace Gartman on Nifty is our next rider. Grace Gartman. And here she comes. She gets around that first barrel nicely. And now around the second barrel. And around the top barrel, nudges the barrel, but it stays up. She's going to get a time. And she gets a 24.601. And it's time to drag the arena again. So while they do that, we'll take another time out here on NLWN-TV.
What do you think you're doing, Kevin?
Was just gonna drive home.
There are several warning signs present that you shouldn't be driving.
Like hearing voices?
Like your text-to-emoji ratio?
Oh man, the selfies. Selfie, nailed it.
We all have warning signs that let us know that we're probably not okay to drive. Mine is pretending to be your subconscious.
Craig, come on man, let's split a ride home.
And welcome back to Larson Ranch. We have the final group of riders in the open barrels, and that will open up with Ricky Kahns on board KISS. And Ricky is looking to beat the time of 19.193 that's currently being held by Patty Hovland. And so now we're ready for Ricky Coons. And she is on board KISS, and here she goes. And she's around that first barrel. Heading over to the second barrel. Taking her time up now to that top barrel. Ricky Coons on board KISS. She's got a clean ride. And she has a time of 34.203. On KISS, that's going to bring up Ellen Govan. And she is going to be riding Penny. And waiting for Penny to come on board. She's probably didn't cost anything near a penny. I bet it was a pretty penny she cost her. Here she comes, Ellen Govan. And she's around that first barrel nice and clean. And around that second barrel nice and tight. Around that top barrel, now heading for home. Looking to beat that 19.1. Not going to do that, but she has a nice ride of 22.311. Bella Halverson on, is it Binks, I believe is the name of this horse. Bella Halverson on board Binks.
Sierra Olson, if you're here, can you come to the announcer stand, please?
And here comes Bella. Well, not quite yet. Here comes Bella. Makes that first barrel. And around the second barrel, up to the top. Heading for home. 21.376 for Bella. Bailey Wooler on...
I do believe it's Mitch Dapp.
Mitch Dapp. We'll go with that, Dan. Okay. So this is Bailey Wooler. Here she comes. And she gets around the first barrel. Over to the second barrel. Heads up to the top barrel and now heads for home. And with a time of 20.469. And our final rider for the Open is Danny Morrow. And Danny runs over the first barrel. No worse for wear on either horse or rider. And if I'm not mistaken, that's it for all the riders on the barrels. And so as Danny finishes up, that means we've got the following. Elena Butler finishes in third on CNC Frenchie's Rebel. Second place goes to Patty Hovland on First Has a Nick Barr Legend. And then first place goes to Patty Hovland on Second Manners Lady Jet with a time of 19.193. And I believe that's it for our barrels riders. And we're going to have some poll. Well, maybe we have one more rider. And
looks like they're going to drag.
Yep, they're going to drag, and we'll find out if there's another barrel rider or if we're heading to poles. And we'll do that right after we come back from this timeout on NLWN-TV.
This is the story of a boy who was very sensitive to lights and sounds. So he built secret hiding places where nothing could get in. The boy didn't like looking people in the eye. It made him feel uncomfortable. One day, he found out he had something called autism. His family got him help, and slowly, he learned how to live with it better.
Early intervention can make a lifetime of difference. Learn the signs at autismspeaks.org.
And we're back here at Larson Ranch. We do have a couple riders left on the open barrels. So this is Karen Scott. And Karen is heading around the first barrel. Actually, it's easier to see it on the camera right now than watching it with the naked eye. She gets up around the top barrel. It's getting kind of dark here at Larson Ranch. And heading down towards the finish line, 21.907. And then Danny, is it Morgan? Morrow. Danny Morrow. I'm trying to read Dan's handwriting here. And folks, we have a special bonus for you coming up here in just a little bit. And here goes Danny Morrow around the first one, heading over to the second barrel. My broadcast partner here, Dan, is going to do some riding. He and my granddaughter Addison they're going to be doing the rescue race. And Danny gets a time of 22.173. So now we will have the poles coming up after they drag the arena one last time. And so the standings did not change. I'll go through those one more time. Third place was Elena Butler on CNC Frenchie's Rebel. Second place, Patty Hovland on First Nick Bar Legend. And first place, also Patty Hovland on Second Manners Lady Jet with a time of 19.193. So that's the open barrels. They're going to drag the arena, get things set up for pole bending. Right after this brief timeout, you're watching Poles and Barrels, or Barrels and Poles, from Larson Ranch, just outside of Mondovi, Wisconsin, on NLWN-TV.
Hi, this is Ashley Larson, and I'm here if you or your horse are looking for any training in barrel racing and pole bending. We here at Larson Ranch are here to help. I bring my experience as a national contender in collegiate and high school rodeo events to Larson Ranch just south of Mondovi. I specialize in training for barrel racing, pole bending, as well as other rodeo events like goat tying and breakaway roping. Our training has helped our students place in the top 4 in the state as well as top finishes in the nation. Check out Larson Ranch on our Facebook page for more contact information. We're excited to see you at Larson Ranch.
And we are back at Larson Ranch in Mondovi. We're getting ready to ride the open poles, and we're fighting darkness here because out there riding the poles, if you peer hard, you can see her. It's Carly Guckenberger on board Copper. And I don't know if the timer started.
Carly, I'm sorry, but we had a timer malfunction.
And so
you can run at the end or you can run right away, your choice.
They're going to give Carly a choice of whether she wants to run right away or run at the end. And I'm trying to see what she's deciding. She's off there in the dark somewhere now. Looks like she's going to run again. Nope, she's out of the starting area.
Does Carly want to go again, or do we have Elena?
And it looks like Elena is coming up. Elena Butler on CNC Frenchie's Rebel. Waiting for Elena. Here she comes. This is pole bending. They have to go all the way down, then weave their way back like she is doing right now. Now weave her way back to the top. And turn around and head for home. She gets a time of 21.304.
21.304.
For Elena Butler, that's the time to beat so far. Ashley Larson on Leo Slide Jet is our next rider.
Up next is Ashley Larson. We're going to need a minute.
Ashley Larson on Leo Slide Jet. And we're still waiting for Ashley.
Up after Ashley, we have Addison Olsen, Kaylee Check, and then Sierra Steele.
Still waiting on Ashley. There she comes. Pulls up her horse before entering the arena, but now she's off and running. Down to the far end. She makes it through the first set of weaves and now working her way back to the top. And a clean run for Ashley Larson. And she's going to get a time of 23.053. That puts her in second place currently.
On deck, Kaylee Check. In the hole, Sierra Steele.
So Addison Olsen on Adira. Addison starts her weave back. Gets turned at the bottom, now weaves back up again. And Addison's going to get a clean run out of this from Adira. Heads for home. And gets a time of 25.854. That currently puts Addison in third place. Kaylee Check is our next rider on Frankie. I'll tell you, Dan, that could have been your rescue race partner.
We'll have to see if that's going to happen, if there's enough riders for it.
Yeah, it should be fun.
Here goes Carly. Starts her weave back down to the bottom. Makes a turn down at the bottom and heads back up to the top. We're fighting the darkness here at Larson Ranch. Makes the turn at the top, heading toward home. And gets a time of 24.957. That puts her into third place. And so we have Sierra Steele coming up. And Sierra's riding lefty. Still waiting for Sierra. Here she comes. This is a difficult event because it involves going full speed down to one end, settling the horse down, doing the intricate weaving, getting turned around at the bottom, weaving back up, and then kicking it into high speed on the way back. And here she comes. Sierra Steele on lefty. 22.673 is her time. And McKenna Zimbauer. Oh, by the way, that 22.673 put Sierra Steele into second place. And here she goes. Weaving her way back up to the top is McKenna. And she gets a time of 23.436. And they're going to drag the arena with currently in third place is Ashley Larson on Leo's Slide Jet. Second place is currently Sierra Steele on board Lefty. And first place with a time of 21.304, Elena Butler on CNC Frenchie's Rebel. And we'll have more of the polls. I'm assuming that we can see them after they drag the arena on NLWN-TV.
When you adopt a shelter pet, you discover their unique mix of all kinds of traits.
Where'd Wiley go? Where's Wiley? Ah, there she is. Paw?
Do you remember being an ancient wolf? Do you ever feel the call of the wild?
You're a renegade cop, and I'm a con woman with nothing to prove. But together, we could really solve this murder.
They're a little bit of a lot of things, but all of them are pure love.
And we are back at Larson Ranch, just outside of Mondovi, as we're peering through the darkness, hoping to pick up these riders. Cheyenne Check is our next rider at pole bending in the open poles. Cheyenne Check on board Harper. And our camera person, Ann, is doing a heck of a job trying to pick these people up in the darkness. Here comes Cheyenne. That's that shadow you see there. She heads on down, makes the turn at the top, begins her weave. Turn at the bottom and starts weaving back up. And she's going to get a clean run. 22.633. Carly Guckenberger on board Phoenix is the next rider. Carly Guckenberger on board Phoenix. Now, Carly did ride Cooper, but they had a clock issue. And so Carly's going to ride again a little bit later. Here goes Carly on Phoenix. Makes the turn at the top, starts her way back down. And gets turned at the bottom. Works her way back up. Finishes the weave. Is heading for home. And she has a time of 24.325. 24.325. Next up is Ashley Larson on Manners Nick Barr. Well, Ashley ought to be able to run this in the dark. It's her arena. She ought to know where everything is. So we're waiting to see Ashley. And here comes Ashley. She had some troubles running the barrels, kept knocking over a barrel each time she ran. Let's see if she does better in the poles here. Halfway through the poles, she's clean. Weaves her way back up to the top. And she's clean through the weave. She's going to have a clean ride with a clean time. And she gets a 25.463 for Ashley Larson. Dakota Gartman on Sketch. Here comes Dakota. Working the way back down through those poles. Now heading back up to the top through the poles. Makes that turn at the top, heads for home. And Dakota's time is 25.444. Next up will be Grace Gartman on board Nifty.
Up next is Grace Gartman. On deck is Peyton Gilbertson. In the hole is Zoe Pitts.
So Grace Gartman on Nifty is the next rider. Now Grace is doing this pattern the opposite direction of most of the riders. She went up the left side, which means she will make her finishing run down the right side. It really doesn't matter, as long as you weave through the poles correctly and don't knock any over. And here she comes. And she has a 29.701 for a clean time for Grace. Peyton Gilbertson is our next rider. Here goes Peyton, also going up the left side. Slows down for that top pole.
So Dan, as she rides, how difficult is it when you get the horse running full speed to bring that horse under control and start the weave?
Yeah, you gotta get your legs moving back and forth to get them to get through the pattern cleanly. It's a lot of movements going on.
So this is a whole lot different than pole weaving when you add that heading down.
Right.
28.355 for Peyton Gilbertson. And now we have Zoe Pitts coming up, and Zoe is riding Rose.
Here goes Zoe. Rose kind of likes this event. Zoe coming down, makes a turn and knocks over that pole at the end of the course. So she's going to get a no time. She turned Rose just a hair too early. And Rose's nose sounds like a Danny Kaye routine. So Rose's nose kind of knocked over the pole, and we get a no time for Zoe. Would have been a 28.367. They're going to drag the arena as it gets darker and darker and darker, and we peer through the mystery. But we're going to take a quick time out here on NLWN-TV.
I hear someone go, "Didn't it come from you guys?"
Strangers cough at me.
Move away from me.
Someone spit towards my direction. All the stereotypes that we've worked so hard to break are just going to be reversed. And I won't let that happen.
We all have to play our part.
I donate my plasma.
I've been making masks.
We deserve respect as much as everybody else.
I'm a firefighter, not a virus.
I'm a mask maker, not a virus.
I'm a nurse.
I'm a delivery woman, chef, a neighbor, artist.
Bus driver.
I'm a doctor.
Fight the virus. Fight the virus.
And we're back here at Larson Ranch, and we're hoping to see okay on this. And we have a handful of riders yet in the open polls. We're starting with Carly Guckenberger rerunning Copper because they had a timer problem, and the timer is still going, and so they have to stop that before Carly gets started. And so now, otherwise Carly would have had another timer issue. So Carly Guckenberger on Copper will be our first rider. And we have Kendra Butler. And Dan, I can't read your handwriting for this one. Allie Butler, okay. And Mackenzie Wallstrom. Those are our riders left in the open polls. And of course, following that, we're going to have some fun. We're going to have the rescue race. And Dan?
What did I get myself into?
Yeah, you're riding this. You're going to go down and rescue my granddaughter, right? And
that's the plan.
Anyway, here goes Carly Guckenberger on board Copper as she heads down towards the top end, makes the turn there. It's coming back.
Go ahead, Carly. Forward.
And now turns at the bottom.
Get to the middle.
And she gets back up to the top, heading back down for a final time here. Gets a finishing time of 24.381.
Up next is Kendra.
And we have Kendra Butler coming up next.
The most common way is eating better. We were looking for number 2. Sydney from Medford had our first guest.
Still looking to beat that 21.3. Kendra Butler, maybe hoping to top Elena Butler. Yeah. So Dan, you're going to go down there and rescue my granddaughter. How's that going to work?
I'm not for sure how this is going to go, but we'll make it work.
as Kendra is on her way, working her way back down to the bottom of the poles.
Yeah, Kendra!
Back up to the top. And coming down to get her time. And she gets a 26.433.
26.433.
Now, if I understand this right, the way you're explaining it, you ride down, you pick her up, rescue her onto the horse, and the two of you ride back to the finish line.
Yep. Ride. She'll get on behind and make it across the finish line.
And here we go with Allie Butler. Coming down fast, makes a turn at the bottom. She's looking for a good time, wants to challenge that 21.3 time. She makes a turn at the top. She just might be able to do that. Not quite, 22.879.
Up next is Mackenzie Wallstrom, and that'll be it for poles.
And that will put her, just misses third place. So Mackenzie Wallstrom is our rider now. She makes the turn at the top, weaves her way back down to the bottom, and now turn at the bottom, weaves her way back up to the top. And the turn at the top, coming back down, and gets a time of 24.658. And that takes care of the poles, and Dan is going to head off and find Addison so they can do the rescue race. And our results in the polls: third place went to Sierra Steele on Lefty, second place to Cheyenne Check on Harper, and first place to Elena Butler on CNC French's Rebel with a time of 21.304. Now, coming up on NLWN-TV, 1 week from tonight, we have more of the poles and barrels from right here at Larson Ranch. And then we will have on the 25th, we have Colfax Viking football from Colfax High School against the Boyceville Bulldogs. That kickoff will be at 7 o'clock. And then we have a little bit of a breeze picking up, trying to blow things around here. And then on the 28th of September, we have some Wissota racing action. It's the Jim Falls Showdown, Day 2. We're going to have that on Monday the 28th. And so they're getting ready to run the rescue race. I'm not sure where they're putting people for the rescue race, where the rescuee ends up standing. And so we're still waiting for everybody to get set. And I'll tell you what, while they get this organized and ready to go, we'll take another quick time out. You're watching Poles, Barrels, and Then Some right here on NLWN-TV.
Here you go.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we are back here at Larson Ranch, and we are getting ready for the rescue race. And the rescuees are going to be at the barrel that's out in the arena, and the rescuers are going to ride out and rescue them off the barrel.
All right. So I think we have Mackenzie and Ashley first up.
And so we have Mackenzie Wallstrom and Ashley Larson are the first ones up in the rescue race. Here comes Mackenzie, and she comes by Ashley, takes her off the barrel. Ashley gets on board, and here they come, and get a time of 14.787.
14.787.
14.787 is the time to beat. So we'll see who's up next. And this is Allie Butler. Carly Buchholz is going to ride down and rescue her. Oh, wait a minute. We have Addison down on the barrel, and Dan is going to ride.
We have Dan and Addison up now.
So here comes Dan. This is our Dan from NLWN-TV, and he's riding a Dura, coming down to rescue my granddaughter Addison as he comes down to pick her up. And he's got her, and she's on board, and here they come back. And Dan has successfully rescued Addison with a time of 18.982. Okay, Carly Guckenberger and Allie Butler are the next two, and I'm not sure which one's which, but one of them is on the barrel, and here comes the other one. Coming down to rescue, Allie and Carly. And here they come back.
That's a
19.172 for Allie and Carly. So this is, we're looking to see.
Who's up next?
Okay, it's Grace and Dakota Gartman.
Grace and Dakota. Whenever you're ready.
And Dakota's doing it from the ground. And here goes Grace. And tries to find him in the dark, and she got him. Dakota leaps up on board. And they come down and they get a time of 14.013.
You guys actually didn't go around the barrel. So it's going to have to be a no time.
So it's a no time because they did not go around the barrel. And Danny and Allison are up. I think that's the only team left is Danny and Allison.
We have Ashley and Sierra Steele. Don't hurt her, Ashley.
Okay, we have Ashley and Sierra. I did not have that list. And here goes Ashley getting Sierra. She almost dropped her. That's not much of a rescue. And she's got Sierra on the ground, and Ashley finally has her on the horseback, and they're off and running. 24.441.
24.441.
We got to add Carly Buchholz and Ashley Larson to that roster.
And we also have Carly and Ashley. Carly Buchholz and Ashley Larson. Ashley's getting a lot of riding in on this rescue race. And let's see, I believe this might be, is this Danny and Allison now, or?
Who is it?
Mackenzie and Allie right now.
Okay, Mackenzie and Allie. Kind of have her on board. There we go. 18.572.
5.72.
Next up we have
Okay, next is Carly and Ashley.
Ashley and Carly Buckel.
And here comes Ashley again on this event. And she's got Carly on board. And it's a 15.432.
432.
That actually does put them in second place.
Is she going? Ashley, are you saving Kenzie?
And we're waiting to see if there are any more riders.
I believe we have one more, Ashley and Kenzie.
Okay, so we have Ashley riding one more time.
She's a saver. She's out here to rescue people.
Ashley going to save Kenzie this time. Kenzie's up on the barrel.
And we'll have Danny Moore and Allison.
And we also have Danny and Allison about to ride as well. Here comes Ashley, going to save Kenzie. I believe this is the opposite of what they did the first time they rode.
Go!
And on board. $15.514. And our intrepid Dan gets here. I want to thank you, Dan, for rescuing my granddaughter from imminent peril of falling off that barrel.
Apparently, I wasn't very fast. Oh, yeah.
Well, your time was competitive with the other times. And we have Danny and Allison, I believe, are the last two. It looks like Danny down there getting ready to get rescued. And a good-looking rescue and the best time so far of the night, 12.773.
773.
I guess that's the way it's supposed to look in the Westerns, right?
Yeah, that's how it works.
We have Carly and Allison.
Actually, you guys did pretty well for getting it thrown together at the last minute and going out there.
You know, the last time I did that was at a rodeo down here, high school rodeo. And that would have been 10 years ago.
Okay, and we have... I'm not sure who we have rescuing who here.
Looks like we have Allie and somebody.
Oh, they knocked over the barrel.
Allie Butler and somebody.
That was a 23.906, but I think we're going to count it as a no time when you knock the barrel.
There's some complaining from the peanut gallery there with that no time declaration for knocking over the barrel.
Now we have Kenzie and...
Well, evidently Kenzie and some mystery rider. Oh, here comes Allie rescuing Kenzie. And now they're off.
That's a 16.
16.265. Also pretty decent time.
We should have a Danny and...
And I'm looking to see if we have any more.
One more, Danny and I can't remember the name.
Danny and somebody are riding. Well, there's an alley. Here we go. Part of the seeming disorganization of this is that it's put together at the last minute. This is a fun event for these people. And up on board and on their way back. And so that's going to take care of the rescue race, and we are going to take a quick time out. We'll be right back with a recap of tonight's action on NLWN-TV.
Part-time job, full-time hustle, all-time hero to all of us. You nurture, we listen. You teach, we thrive. You lift our spirits, but we've got to lay down the truth. It's time for you, our Shiro, to stretch for the stars. A free online chat can give you the personalized tips you need to start boosting your retirement savings today. Start saving more for retirement so you can feel prepared and live your life to the fullest. Visit aceyourretirement.org/Shiro.
And we're back here at Larson Ranch, just outside of Mondovi. Rick Olson along with Dan Petshaw, and we've got some results for you from tonight's activities, poles and barrels. And Dan, why don't you give us the Pee-wee barrels first?
Yeah, Pee-wee barrel results. In third place, it went to Cannon Crable with a 50.045. Second place went to Eleanor Lazowski with a 49.661, and first place went to Avery Martin with a 23.865.
Then we had the youth barrels, and third place went to Mackenzie Wallstrom on board Phoebe, and Mackenzie had a time of 21.404. Second place, Carly Guckenberger on board Copper with a time of 20.571, and first place with a time of 18.798 on board Rocky was Sierra Steele. Then we had the Opens, Dan. How'd that come out?
Yeah, in the Open, third place went to Lena Butler with a 19.390. Patty Hovland took second with a 19.263, and Patty Hovland took first on her other horse with a 19.193.
Those times were really close, and
yep.
So Patty Hovland just edged out Patty Hovland for the win.
Yep.
Then we have poles, and it was open poles, and third place, Sierra Steele on board Lefty with a time of 22.673. Second place went to Cheyenne Check on Harper with a 22.633. And then first place on CNC Frenchies Rubber with a time of 21.304 was Elena Butler. So all in all, Dan, we had a pretty good night of equestrian riding.
Yeah, great turnout tonight, and hopefully they'll do it again here.
And well, we're going to be back here next week, same time, same place, and we'll have it all for you right here on NLWN-TV. So until 1 week from tonight, when Dan and I will be back here for it, you all have a great evening. Rick Olson for Dan Petshaw and our camera person, Ann Monroe. And this is Poles and Barrels from the Larson Ranch in Mondovi, Wisconsin on NLWN-TV.
Things could be stranger, but I don't know how. I'm going through changes now. Could spend a lifetime trying to figure it out. I'm going through changes, through all of the strangeness. I'm going through changes now.
You've been watching a Barrels and Poles equestrian event on NLWN-TV. This program was recorded live on September 11th at Larson Ranch in Mondovi, Wisconsin. This has been a production of NLWN-TV.